Hello there, my name is Ben Schyan. This video is for the often imitated, never duplicated, the one, the only, Nina Kane. Hi Nina, it was great talking to you on the phone a couple minutes ago, and I'm here to compose my audition video for your new show. So that being said, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Like I said, my name is Ben Schyan, and my main claim to fame as far as my geekiness is my love of old nostalgic shows from the 80s and 90s, such as shows like Alf and Gilligan's Island, which I guess goes back to the 60s. Let's see, Lost in Space, The Wonder Years, The Hogan Family, cartoon shows like The Littles, Inspector Gadget, Heathcliff, Garfield. The list just goes on and on and on. Like, I pretty much have the whole 80s and early 90s covered, and I hold on to my nostalgia very dear because it was a time where anything goes on TV, no matter how extreme, no matter how weird. You had Mr. T fighting Rocky Balboa. You had crazy extremes like Dallas, or people getting killed and coming back to life. There were no shields over what could be given on a given night of the week when you sat in front of your glowing box called TV and watched your favorite show. So in addition to loving my childhood, I also have a lot of toys from my childhood as well, which I'd like to show you now. I will now take you into my toy chest with all my toys. Let's see what we got here. We have a little old Ronald McDonald toy, which I won at a raffle. And let's see, I believe he squeaks. So that's pretty cool. I have an old Mash'em, where these Mash'ems, you would crush them, and they would just come right back to life again. It's endless hours and hours of entertainment right here in the palm of my hand. Moving right along, we have old Pound Puppies. You guys remember Pound Puppies? I have all of them in here. I have the white one, the brown one, the gray, and the black one. See, here we go. The black here as well. Show you that. Moving on, I have a glowworm, and believe it or not, he still glows. So you can't really see in the light, but if you squeeze him just right, he'll continue to glow for you. So that goes back to like the early 80s, I believe. I have a Waldo doll because I wanted to feel like I finally found him and captured him. So here's Waldo. I have the Ninja Turtles, like Michelangelo, Raphael, and the list goes on. Now, one of my most biggest claims to fame as far as my toys and nostalgia is this right here. Now raise your hand if you know what this is. I didn't think so. This is a Mortimer Ichabod marker. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, Bill Cosby used to have a show called Picture Pages. And on each episode, he would make dots and connect the dots and make stars and fish and stuff like that. And he would use this Mortimer Ichabod marker to connect the dots. And every time he would draw, it would make this sound that would be like... So, 20 years later on eBay, I finally found my own Mortimer Ichabod marker, and I spent $200 on this little guy. Because I wanted one my whole entire life, and I never had one, and it's like I was fixing what was once wrong. And then, like Quantum Leap, I made right what once went wrong. So that being said, I'm going to show you my little Mortimer Ichabod marker and play the music. All you have to do is hit the little knob when you draw, and he can make the noise. And it came with batteries. So in addition to all my toys that I have from the 80s and 90s and so forth, one of my biggest geek claims to fame is I'm a huge Gilligan's Island fan. I have the Gilligan's Island book, the cookbook that Mary Ann Dawn Wells herself wrote. I have Here on Gilligan's Island, written by the professor from the show. I have Gilligan, Maynard and Me, written by Gilligan himself. And I have Inside Gilligan's Island, written by Sherwood Schwartz, the creator of the show. And I've seen every episode, seen all 3 movies, beat the video game. I actually played Mr. Hal in the reenactment simulator in MGM Studios in Florida. They have a Gilligan's Island Recreation Center, and I went and actually got to play Mr. Hal in the opening credits theme. So that was I felt very proud of that because at the time I was, still watching the new episodes, to me, and it was like I was actually in the show, which I always wanted. So, I'm very proud of my Gilligan's Island knowledge, and as well as my other geek knowledge. It's like, it's a wealth of knowledge I have to share with those who actually care enough to listen to it. So when the opportunities that comes up, I have to jump on those opportunities because I might not get them again for a long time. Now here's something you might find amusing. Me and my best friend Mike have had this ongoing argument about who would win in a battle of pranks against Macaulay Culkin's character Kevin from Home Alone and Michael Oliver's character Junior from Problem Child. 2 movies that came out in the in the early 90s about two kids who would play practical jokes on people who were out to get them. And he says Kevin would win because he's smarter and more coordinated, but I say Junior would win because he didn't care and he didn't really have much of a conscience. And I say because Junior had more adversaries he fought in all the movies, whereas Kevin only had about 2 or 3 adversaries he fought in his movies. So we've gone back and forth about this a million times, and neither one of us has budged on an argument. But if you dare to challenge me, I will go back and forth about this again in person with you. I'm just saying. Now I'm going to tell you another story that another friend of mine had about our nostalgic favorite movies. My best friend used to love the movie The Never-Ending Story, and he still loves it. When I was a kid, somehow I missed that one and saw the sequel, The Never-Ending Story 2, the next chapter. And in the first movie, there's a character named Atreyu who's very heroic and brave and takes out monsters 3 times his size. In the second movie, Atreyu's character is thrown by his bicep off a cliff by Bastian, who's a little boy. And when my best friend saw this, he flipped out and couldn't believe what he was watching. And we always go back and forth over how one movie deserves credibility while the other says it doesn't. So it's like we always argue about Never-Ending Story. It's like a never-ending argument. So I'll tell you more about that in person, but it's a great topic to talk about. And as far as my competitive nature, when it comes to something I really like and am passionate about, I like to compete, I like to win. You know, I love to be among my people, of fellow geeks, nerds, and people who just hold dear something special that no one can ever take away from them. So that's pretty much a little bit about me, and if you want to know more, feel free to call me into Audition. I'd love to meet you all face to face. I might even bring my glowworm. Alright, see you soon. Bye-bye. Yay, he works.